real quickly before I jump into it, final time I'm mentioning it just because yesterday's video didn't even seem to hit sub box. I had a lot of people saying that they didn't even realize I uploaded yesterday, but as a result of that, I'm letting you guys know once again, one final time, that Twitch Prime does have new loot for World War II. If you guys want to claim that, simply go to the link in the description below. If you guys don't have your accounts connected, your Amazon Prime, your Twitch account, and then your Call of Duty account, you gotta link those up first. But if you guys do, you're gonna end up simply going to your mail station if you've gotten something from Twitch Prime before, and right there, right next to your armory credits, you'll end up seeing a heroic uniform bribe and 2 supply drop bundles. So that is something that is free if you have Amazon Prime linked with Twitch. And so if you have it, it's free stuff, and who doesn't love free stuff? So make sure you check that out if you guys don't. Once again, link is in the description below if you guys need to link up your accounts, but hopefully get something good out of that heroic uniform bribe. That uniform is dupe protected. So with that said, let's jump right into the regularly scheduled content. As the past few months, I gotta give props where props are due. Sledgehammer has been trying to get a little bit better at communicating with the community. Now, of course, that might not be up to your gold standard of constant streamlines of communication and talking back and forth with the community, but they've made the effort, and they've recently implemented something in which it is a weekly update for World War II, talking to the fans, addressing some things that the community has had issues with over the past week, some updates on the game and the state coming in the next few days to weeks, and then other things alike that are just kind of a community showcase sort of thing. And while some of these aren't as substantial as others, this week we ended up getting one a couple of hours ago that actually, while not necessarily giving us a lot up front, it does provide a lot of clarity and a lot of context to some things coming up in the upcoming weeks. A massive update is going to be on the horizon, and a lot of things are going to be added in, hopefully very soon. Some things a little bit later than others, but we'll definitely be seeing some of the things we've been waiting for a long time coming up shortly. So in today's video, I'm gonna talk to you guys about the 7 biggest things here mentioned out of this, and give you guys a little clarity and context for each of them, and let you guys know the basic whole rundown of the things ahead in the upcoming weeks for World War II. So that said, let's get into it. The first thing being leaderboards. This has been an issue on and off since launch, and I know a lot of people might not necessarily take a look at the leaderboards all that often, but there is a very niche community, and a very diehard community at that goes for leaderboards every single year, and this has been something that has really been affecting them this year more so than others. I guess, well, other than last year with Infinite Warfare and a lack of leaderboards for a while, but the leaderboards themselves were not updating properly. They'd end up locking randomly, and then you couldn't actually progress, and you wouldn't be able to see any of your progress. But as of recently, Sledgehammer did push through an update to this in which it fixed it, supposedly. I can't say that I pay that much attention to leaderboards myself, so as for how well it did, I couldn't tell you off my personal experience, but it is an issue they're going to be continually monitoring so that they make sure that this fix did fix it, in fact, and instead didn't just prolong another freeze on the leaderboards. So that's something that if you guys are leaderboard grinders, check this out. Maybe it helps you out in some way, and hopefully it does not freeze up again. The next thing I want to talk about is the community choice playlist. This was something that was added in today at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 6 p.m. GMT, and it's going to go until Monday, March 5th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 6 p.m. GMT, with double XP actually in this playlist. But this is something in which, if you guys remember back a couple of days ago, maybe a week or so back at this point in time, we talked a little bit about it in a video in which Sledgehammer put out a little bit of a straw poll talking about what modes and maps would you like to see for a playlist. This is now that playlist curated from those answers from the community, though some people might not necessarily agree with them, and some of the things don't necessarily match up, because one of the maps and modes is Domination on Aachen, which is one that actually fell at the lower end of the spectrum in terms of results on what the community voted for. So I guess I don't know exactly how much of this is community driven and how much is kind of added in maybe for filler to fill out the rest of it, but regardless, there are a bunch of different maps with prop hunts on it this week in the community choice playlist. So if you guys want to check that out, you guys want to relive prop hunt a little bit, and you want to get some double XP, now is the time to do so. You have the next couple of days to check this out. Now, talking about featured playlists though, the one that I'm sure you're very curious on if you guys care about game modes at all is Domination XL, because where is this? That's the big question, at least on my mind, and going into this update, I was really hoping they would address it, and sure enough, they did, because we were supposed to get this at some point in time during the Resistance event, and now with it coming and going, well, it's still nowhere to be found. But we do have a little bit more of an updated ETA here on this, and your guess is as good as mine as to why it's pushed back so much, but they ended up saying that we're rolling out Domination XL at the end of March after a special upcoming holiday event that we'll share more about soon. For now, enjoy the community choice playlist, and thanks again for voting on your favorite map mode combos. So, there we have it. Domination XL, first initially teased to be part of the Resistance event, is now pushed to the end of this month, March. Almost, seemingly an entire month after the end of the Resistance event, plus whatever time a lot of people thought we'd get during the Resistance event, so maybe about a month to 2 months behind schedule for where we were initially hoping for it. Now, I'm a little upset with this, yes, don't get me wrong, but I am glad to see that we have some more clarity on when we can actually expect it, instead of just saying, well, maybe it's coming next week, maybe this next update will say, hey, we're making it go live for the weekend. I'm glad that we have at least a little bit more clarity on this, and we also do have the information now that we do have another event coming up. As for the length of this one, we have no idea. It makes it sound like it's going to be a very short one if it's going to be the end of an event, because if that means that it's going to happen after the event, well, then that means we don't have all that much time. Even if it were to launch now, we'd still only have 3 to 4 weeks compared to the 4 to 5 that we've previously had with Winter Siege and the Resistance event. And between me and you, I'm still really hoping they do name it Shamrock Siege, just because that's the one that I came up with in my mind to kind of play on a little bit of the appeal of St. Patrick's Day, and that I've been kind of lobbying for ever since. I guess we'll see, but Domination XL is confirmed to be coming later this month, and unfortunately, much longer of a wait than we anticipated, but at least we have a little bit of an updated ETA. The next thing up on the docket here is the heroic weapon bribes, because for those of you guys that either bought these, which hopefully you didn't because this is where the issues really started to arise, and we'll get to that in a second, or if you ended up activating the special order from Major Howard's office, you could end up completing 100 games for 2 times heroic weapon bribe, which of course is great because heroic weapons are often tougher to come by, and to be guaranteed those non-dupes are beautiful. However, the issue really came up in which whenever people ended up getting these, they were duplicates. They were getting bribes they already had and weapons they already had as well. So therefore, this was something that a lot of the people that ended up having this issue didn't actually complete the 100 games challenge. It was more so they bought them, so they spent money to get duplicates when they were promised that they would not get duplicates. That's where the issue really arrived. So Sledgehammer ended up removing these from the marketplace to address the issues on it so that it will be put back into circulation, working properly. But if you ended up having one, they said to reach out to Activision support, either on Twitter or Reddit, to get some compensation here for it. I don't know exactly what that would entail. I don't know if it'd be a refund or giving you guys another bribe to sort of make up for it. I don't know. I haven't had the issue yet, but if you have had that, at least give it a shot. The next thing they mentioned were the hardcore playlists and team killing with Ricochet. This was one that was an interesting discussion since launch that has been changed ever so slightly here and there on a couple of different occasions, but they ended up talking about this in which they made various changes to the team killing rules over the past few months, but having heard more feedback, they decided to run a separate hardcore playlist with Ricochet so that when you shoot a teammate, you can take damage instead of them. And this will be coming next weekend, starting on March 9th. So that'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I think it sort of is a Domination to Domination XL type of thing in which they're testing out both to see maybe what the community likes more, and maybe that indicates what happens going forward into the future of World War II. But I think this is a nice little adjustment where it sort of caters to what players want on each end, and then they can play how they see fit. So I like this move, and I think that this will be cool for the hardcore community, but we'll see how long it lasts and if it will make any substantial change moving forward. The second to last thing here that we're going to be talking about is probably one of the biggest out of this update, and I'll be totally honest with you, it's going to upset some people. It's going to make some people happy that they've acknowledged it and they've kind of taken the blame here for this, but this is the paint shop, because they ended up even admitting that they got ahead of themselves. They should not have teased this as early as they did, mentioning back to whenever they first said it was going to be coming soon in one of the recent updates in which they talked to the community. But honestly, I don't even know if it was the right call to have this in since launch, because that's even further back to tease it. But they ended up saying that they got ahead of themselves and that they know that this is something the community really wants. They're really excited to debut it, they're really committed to delivering to it, but they're still actively testing it in the studio. And they said that it did take longer than they anticipated, and they do apologize for that, but they have not set an actual date for this. They're looking to wrap up the development of it soon, and once they do, then they'll give us some more concrete timing. But the cool thing is that though this may be disappointing compared to what you were hoping to hear with an update to Paint Shop, they ended up giving us a little bit of a preview for the things that we'll be able to do, and man, it is looking so good. And of course, this makes me want it even more, so the wait is a little bit more unbearable for me, somebody that loves camos as is and was really excited for this since launch. But they ended up sharing the 2 screenshots that I'll toss up on screen here for you guys, one being the chrome camo on the Lee Enfield, which does have a very basic wrap to it from the paint jobs, but the actual detailed showcase in the second imagery just makes it look even better. The M1 Garand and that SVT look so good in my books, and man, I can't wait. I'm so excited for this, And again, I'm disappointed that it's taken this long, but I am glad to know that they do understand that they probably shouldn't have teased it so early. They're still working very hard on it. And I'll be totally honest with you again, is that I think that this might be due to a various number of reasons. We saw the emblem gallery have the ability to create, upload, and share and download other people's. I think that's gonna be what happens here with this one, and that's why it's taking so much extra time. Plus, you have to account for all the variants. It's not like we've had in, say, Black Ops 3, where you could create custom camos on those weapons, but there weren't weapon variants that you had to take into account. Even if ever so slightly, some of the weapon models and canvases for the detailable area are going to be different for each variant compared to, say, what we had in Black Ops 3, where it was only one weapon and they had less to work with because there weren't variants. So that's something that I think will be taken into consideration for some of this downtime, but I also have this hunch in which it might have been an afterthought to begin with, because I do remember back whenever we played the early beta out at Raven, somebody had asked about if there was going to be a custom camo paint job sort of thing like this, and they didn't really have an answer for us at that point in time, and that was about a month to maybe a month and a half before the launch. So I don't know if that was something that was a sort of afterthought that was added in maybe after that might have been a catalyst for it, but that is something also that might be a reason too, where it was something that was added in later and therefore just sort of pushes this back compared to when the other things were added in as well. But I don't know, that is something though that we will keep an eye out on, and hopefully we end up seeing soon, because I am so excited for this. The final thing detailed here in this community update deals with the new weaponry and new uniforms in an update coming soon. They end up saying that we're working on a massive update that's due out in the weeks ahead, but they do have a little taste of things to come, in which they tossed up the image you'll see on screen right now. And this is a new set of uniforms, and that weapon is actually a new one. From the looks of it, that is the Machine Gewehr 13, another LMG that we'll be seeing added into World War II potentially. But the interesting part to look into this even further is that they say that this is going to be coming out in the weeks ahead. So as we talked about already with something that will be coming out in the next couple of weeks is another event. So while we don't have any details on the length of this, or if it's going to be something that is very limited time, it seems like they're going to coincide in which we have another update to World War II to add in new uniforms, new weapons, and a lot of other stuff within the Quartermaster and supply drop content. But that also means you want to start saving your armory credits up for those of you guys that don't want to end up spending a ton on supply drops or don't want to grind out supply drops. Make sure you guys have your armory credits starting to roll back up, and maybe you can end up picking off a couple of these new weapons as they come out, whenever that may be. So once again, make sure you have your armory credits starting to roll back up, and make sure you try and go for those. If you guys have daily orders in which you can get those armory credits, take advantage of those. Open the supply drops. Hopefully you get some dupes maybe, or maybe not, depending on what you're looking for. But we are going to be getting new weapons, new update coming soon, Domination XL, paint jobs later on, and a lot of other cool stuff. So that said, that's where we're gonna wrap this one up. We talked about a lot here in this one, so I want to get your feedback on a few things. Firstly, are you guys excited that we have a little bit more clarity and some even imagery out of the paint shops? Second, are you guys a little bit upset, or are you guys happy that we actually have some clarity now on Domination XL? And three, are you guys looking forward to a new event? What do you think it will be? And are you also excited for those new weapons and uniforms that'll be coming along with it as well? So let me get your thoughts and feedback on all of that. Anything you guys may have to drop down there in the comment section down below. Let me know your thoughts. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding World War II updates, best class setups, news, tips, tricks, information, all that good stuff. We got you covered here up on the channel. So if any of it interests you, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, that's the best place to get connected with me outside of YouTube. Practically live on Twitter. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, link is down there in the description below. And finally, if you guys want to follow me over on Instagram, trying to get a little bit more active over there as well. So that link is also in the description. But I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Mine is an espresso. Take care and peace.